On November 24th, 1971, a man arrives at Portland, Oregon airport. He gives his name as Dan Cooper and buys a one-way ticket in cash for Northwest Orient Airlines Flight 305. He looks like an ordinary businessman, wearing a simple dark suit, white shirt, thin black clip-on tie, and brown shoes. He takes seat 18E in the last row. The flight's departure is delayed, and the plane remains on the ground. Cooper looks completely composed. He orders bourbon and 7-Up, and chain smokes cigarette after cigarette, back when smoking was allowed on planes. Finally, the flight takes off at 2:50 p.m. PST. Minutes into the flight attendant Florence Schaffner, seated in the rear jump seat, receives a note from Cooper. She mistakes it for a phone number or business card, tucks it into her purse, and ignores it. Cooper glares at her and says, "Miss, you'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." She immediately unfolds the note. It reads, "Miss, I have a bomb in my briefcase." She sits beside him. Cooper opens the briefcase just enough so she can see inside. 8 red cylinders wired together, plus a large cylindrical battery, all looking like a bomb. Florence's expression suddenly twists into shock and fear. In a steady voice, she asks, "What is this?" Cooper calmly replies, "All I have to do is attach this wire to that battery, and we're all dead." Now Florence is absolutely certain this is serious, not a joke. Cooper hands her a demanding note. She goes to the pilots. It reads, "I want $200,000 in 20s and 4 parachutes." He orders the pilots to keep the landing gear down for added drag to slow the plane. Set the wing flaps to 15 degrees. Unpressurize the cabin and keep the rear ventral stairs deployed so he can exit mid-air. The pilots contact ground authorities to report the hijacking and Cooper's demands. The plane lands at Seattle-Tacoma SeaTac Airport, where authorities deliver $200,000 in 20s and 4 parachutes. Cooper releases all passengers, but keeps 4 crew members on board: 2 pilots, 1 flight engineer, and Florence. They take off again, heading toward Mexico City. The plane flies under 10,000 feet and below 200 knots. The tail stair remains open. The cabin stays unpressurized, and a stormy, freezing night envelops the flight. Around 8 p.m., Cooper arms his parachute, opens the rear stairs, and jumps into the storm. The pilots land safely in Reno. The FBI names the case NORJAC, Northwest Hijacking, and begins a massive investigation. They interview over 800 suspects, narrow it down to 24 over 5 years, but never find Cooper. They follow more than 1,000 leads, anonymous tips, interviews, coffee shop exchanges, but no definitive evidence emerges. On February 10th, 1980, 8-year-old Brian Ingram finds $5,800 in bundled $20 bills on a Columbia River sandbar. FBI confirms the serial numbers match the ransom money. They also recover Cooper's clip-on tie from seat 18E, which contains microscopic particles, lycopodium spores, titanium. It remains in FBI custody. In 2001, they attempt DNA extraction, but the sample is spoiled or lost. No match was made. In April 1972, Richard Floyd McCoy Jr. carries out a nearly identical hijacking. $500,000 demanded and parachute jump. He's caught in 48 hours. Though the case mirrors Cooper's, witnesses confirm he is not Cooper. McCoy is sentenced to 40 years, escapes prison in 1974, and is killed by the FBI. In July 2016, the FBI officially suspends active investigation of the case, stating they would reopen it if parachutes or money were found. Between 2022 to 2023, McCoy's children find a military-style parachute harness, and skydiving logbook in their late mother's garage. Aviation YouTuber Dan Grider records it in July 2022 and informs the FBI. The FBI seizes these items and conducts searches of McCoy's property, collecting DNA samples from his son. The case remains confidential, but the FBI treats the parachute find very seriously. If linked, the case could be reopened.